Throughout NBA history, we have often seen one or two players seemingly dominate the league for a decade. These guys were the face of the league, the most impactful players, and simply the best talent in the world at their respective times. In this video, we'll be going over the best NBA players from each decade. What is up, peeps? Welcome back to another video. Thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, subscribe with those bell notifications on so you don't miss a single upload. Starting things off in the 1950s is George Mikan. Mikan was the first big man to set the standard for all incoming NBA centers. He was the first truly dominant big man and player that dominated the league all decade long. Mikan was the first center who fans loved to watch since he ran riot in a league predominantly filled with speedier players with skill. But Mikan was a force to behold, thanks to his size and strength, and was an example for most of the NBA bigs that were to follow him. Mikan led the Minneapolis Lakers to 5 titles in 6 seasons during this era and set the tone for the players that were soon to be regarded as the greatest in their generations. Next up in the 1960s would be Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. The big man dominance continued in the 60s, with Russell winning a ridiculous 11 championships while Wilt shattered almost every NBA record that still stands today, including a 100-point performance and a 50-rebound performance in single games. Wilt was an outstanding physical specimen and basically had his way with most of the league every night. He was taller, stronger, and more athletic than pretty much the entire league, and therefore could effortlessly score whenever he wanted and rebound 25 plus times a game. Even if there are doubts to his competition at the time, Wilt is a historical figure alongside Bill Russell. Russell won 11 titles and was the leader of a very stacked Boston Celtics team. While they had big names on the roster, it was Russell who led the charge on the defensive end and made sure his team came out on top 11 out of 12 times in the finals. There will never be another winner of that magnitude. In the 70s, it was all about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He became the best player in the world and made a statement that he was planning on retiring as the greatest big man who ever lived. In fact, it was clear he wasn't going to stop there. Kareem wanted to be recognized as the best player ever, and his resume really spoke for itself. Kareem was an unstoppable offensive force, with an unblockable skyhook that terrorized defenses all decade long. He was also a force defensively, and pretty much had every intangible you could have as a superstar center. Kareem managed to win 1 MVP award and 5 NBA titles along this decade. Little did we know, Kareem wasn't close to being finished, as he had a lot left in the tank for the next decade, where he won 1 MVP award and 1 NBA title. In the 1980s, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird took it by storm. Magic Johnson became instantly the best point guard and leader in the game. His showtime passing, on-the-court leadership, and pure winning intangibles made him the face of the league for so long. Magic was regarded as the best player on earth alongside Larry Bird whenever he was on the court. Magic was a phantom in his rookie season, capturing the NBA title and Finals MVP in the same year. Bird was the man and the legend who the entire league respected and even feared. Larry Bird was renowned for telling you what he was going to do on the floor and then doing it while you watched. His shooting, rebounding, playmaking, and killer instinct made him the greatest small forward ever for a very long time. Magic Johnson won 5 NBA championships, 3 NBA Final MVPs, and 3 MVP awards, while Larry Bird won 3 NBA championships, 2 NBA Final MVPs, and 3 NBA MVP awards. The 90s was the decade of Michael Jordan, and there is absolutely no question about that. Jordan is often regarded as the greatest player who has ever lived, and it is simply because he had a dedication to excellence on the floor. Everything he did was spectacular, and fans all across the world would flock to the TV to see what MJ would pull off next. He was truly the most exciting player we had ever seen. But what was even more impressive was his ability to win games and consistently be the best player on the court despite sharing the court with the likes of Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Jordan's ability to come up in the clutch time and time again, along with his dominance on both ends of the floor, made him the best player in the 90s and the best player we have ever seen. The 2000s was an interesting decade, as three players have a right to claim the throne. San Antonio Spurs legend Tim Duncan has a strong case with 5 NBA titles, 3 NBA Finals MVP, and 2 MVP awards to his name. But no question, it was a time of the dynamic duo Kobe Bryant and Shaq. Shaq was a force by himself, pretty much putting up the most dominating string of production we had ever seen from a player from the span of 2000 to 2004. Shaq was a force of nature, and teams simply had no answer from him on either end of the floor. He was too big, too strong, too skilled, and simply too dominant. Shaq won 3 NBA titles in a row with 3 final MVPs to his name. He won one more title with the Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade in 2006. Bryant was 1A to Shaq's 1 during their time in the NBA Finals runs together. But what puts Kobe on a notch higher was the fact that he had captured 2 NBA titles as the leader of his own team with the Lakers. Bryant captured 5 NBA titles during this decade, along with 2 Finals MVP and 1 MVP award. And finally, for the 2010s, LeBron James was a force as soon as he entered the league. Like a 260-plus freak of nature who moved like an unstoppable force. James immediately became one of the best players in the league in his rookie season, but he truly shined in the 2010s. James won all 3 of his NBA titles during this era, including 4 NBA MVPs and 3 final MVPs. LeBron broke the stigma of remaining loyal to your team and being forced to accept your situation and left during free agency to join Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in the Miami Heat. With this move, James is often credited for changing the NBA and giving players the power to decide their own careers, as we later saw with Kevin Durant. That's it for the video, guys. Remember, if you're new here, subscribe with those bell notifications, and if you made it this far, well, slap a like on it. And if you're wondering, I personally think in the 2020s, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be the man to become the face of the league during this decade. While we have seen many physical specimens over NBA history, we still have not seen anyone like Giannis before. He simply is incomparable thanks to his unbelievable length and movement, which mimics a speedy point guard. But yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You're absolutely awesome. I'll see you in the next one.